Hi guys, today I'm making abacha and okporoko. I am going to add water into a ungo, and you can use edible potash, which is a cow, or some people call it cow. You add a little bit of water to it. You need just little, and then set aside. And then I have soaked my abacha. The abacha has been soaked in water for 30 minutes and then sieved and washed. Make sure there's no sand in it, and then sieve them, and then it's ready to use. If the abacha is very dry, you want to allow it to stay for some time without without allowing it, not lesser. You want to allow it to stay for a long time. If not, 30 minutes is enough. And that's how I did this one, because this one is a little bit fresh. And I'm going to use okporoko, which is stockfish, for this recipe. It's already cooked and tender. And I have crayfish. I am going to use crayfish because, and this crayfish, I am going to wash it. And first of all, I am going to remove all the yama yama like dirt. It's not that it's too dirty, but sometimes they have little things in the, I don't know, a lot of things. Maybe the fish, different kinds of crayfish, I don't know. The ones that I don't like, all the dirt in it, I'm going to remove them. All the things I know that is dirty, I'm going to remove them, and I'm going to blow them. Make sure I blow it and remove all the dirt. I don't want to see any dirt in my crayfish. If you can do this for your own, if you have a large quantity, that's what you should do before you start grinding them. But in this recipe, I'm going to wash it as well. But I'm going to first of all remove all the dirt. I don't want to see dirt in my crayfish. I don't want to be imagining eating something like that. Sometimes if you even eat it, you hear crack 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 crack, the sounds of the of the sand. In fact, there is sand in crayfish, so you want to wash it whenever you buy them, or even make sure you remove all the dirt, blow them. And I'm going to put them in a bowl and wash them with water. Now I understand why my auntie washes her own crayfish all the time, and I'll be looking at her like, what's wrong with this woman? Every time she's washing this crayfish, it's not dirt. There is dirt in crayfish, please. If you go to the market, some people will just grind it that way. So I'm going to add water and wash it. This is not hot water; it's just the ordinary water that I put in the and in the in the kettle. So I'll wash it and then pound it. Please wash your crayfish, or better still, remove the dirt. So I'm going to have washed them. I'm washing them, and then I'm putting them. I've washed them for the first time. This is the second time, and putting them in the mortar, which is called okwa. That is what we call it in Igbo, okwa. It is a small pound. You can use it to pound anything in place of food processor or blender. So it's time to pound. So I'm going to pound it at like in a rough form, or I'll decide to just pound them in a smoother form. That's how I'm going to pound it. So you can use your food processor, like I said earlier on. Use your food processor to do this. It's also better. So I prefer this one. I just want to feel like I'm at home. So I am going to grind them with the pestle and mortar. I've been using food processor for a long time. I feel like using this one. That's why I'm using them. So now I am going to add pepper. So this pepper is a dry pepper, and I feel it's clean. So I did not wash it. I'm sorry. So I'm not going to wash this one. I'm pounding them together as well. in a rough form, or you can pound them in smooth form, or grind them with your blender, grind them in your food processor. So it's time to add the cow or the ungo. And adding ungo a little bit is enough. You see all those things under. Some of them are, sometimes it could be sand. So you don't want to add sand to your food. So I am going to add little bit. I added a little bit, then add um oil to make the ncha. It looks soapy, that's why we call it ncha. So this time I'm going to add this oil and then turn them. And when you start seeing this soapy consistency, you are going to then know that it's ready to turn the abacha. So look at that. You see, so beautiful. Add more if you want. It depends on the size of what you are going to eat. If you know you are going to do in a large quantity, use large oil, use many crayfish. And then I'm going to add my stock cube. You can add maggi, you can add no, you can add anyone you like. Mine is all purpose stock cube, and it's very tasty. I like them. So I don't need to call the name of the company, but a lot of stock cube there. They have crayfish, they have um my chicken and the other thing like all purpose. So I'm going to scoop out some of the um, oils. I'm going to put them in a pan. I'm going to use that one for okporoko, the stockfish, just to stir it. I do not want to stir the stockfish together with the abacha. So it's time to add the abacha, which is cassava flakes or what? So sorry, I don't know what it's called in English. So I'm going to use a wooden spoon to turn it, or I use my hand. I prefer using my hands. So I want to first turn it a bit with the wooden spoon, and then make sure your hands are clean before you wash your hands clean before you can be able to use so when you are turning it with spoon, it's difficult. So I'm going to use my hands. Make sure your hands are clean. It doesn't hurt. Use your hands. If you want to use hand gloves, it's up to you. I don't want to use hand gloves. I'm using my hands and eating it for myself. So why would I be using hand gloves? When I'm going to eat, will I use hand gloves? No. Please, I don't. I know they do that kind of shakara. So my hands are clean. I am going to turn everything. You want to add salt if you like. Me, I don't want to add salt because I have salt in that stock cube powder already. So there is no need of adding salt. You want to add salt by this time and then test for salt. I am going to test for stock cube. Hey, so the abacha don dey stand, they don dey corner, you don see am. So use your hand to turn the thing agwo. You know they do shakara for abacha. It is hands that you will use to turn the thing, the mekotana the thing. You want to go. Now it's time for me to test it. And it's so yummy. It was so yummy. There was no need for me to add anything anymore. And it's ready. So guys, please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channel to have our videos on your notification. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And now I am going to use the oil and a little bit of the leftover oil, the one I scooped out from the okporoko water. So I'm going to add this um onion. My onion, I want it bulk and chunk. I want it bigger, like chunky this way. So I added the okporoko, I turned it. So I forgot to add ogiri, but this time this is optional. I added ogiri to it and then turn it. It even gave it a little bit of more flavor to it. And to make the abacha warm the way I want it, you can start eating it by adding the abacha to get the differently with the okporoko. But me, I want to turn them together and eat them that way. So I'm going to just turn that just to make it feel a little bit of warmness, maybe like 1 minute or so, so that you be careful of not adding more flames. Otherwise, the abacha will turn to, in fact, like a pap. So just leave it this way off the flame and just turn them together, or just eat it differently with the okporoko and with the stockfish. Sorry if you don't hear Igbo. So just turn them together and it's ready to eat. And it was delicious, very very delicious. This meal is so good. So and that is it for today. Until I come your way next time, see you soon. Bye bye, enjoy.